Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. But you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. Nightmares creep while you and me repeat. This bittersweet heat is suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire. Heart on fire. Set my heart afire. Suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire. Heart on fire. Set my heart.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the LAS Draft League. Tonight we have the Lions taking on the Outlaws first, and then at 9 p.m. we have the Spartans taking on the Guardians. 2 games tonight, both two up-and-coming teams. We should be in for a good one tonight. Joining me on the caster bench is a very special guest, the only Same Page. We will be sending it to pick and ban for him in just a second, as it does look like these teams are ready. But it should be a good one, guys, and let's get right into it.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are you guys? How are you guys doing today? We're going to be doing Lions with the Outlaws. Unfortunately, I don't know exactly what they are looking for each side of the team, but it's going to be very interesting to see what they kind of look for, and especially against pick a ban off the other side.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what these teams will prioritize, what they do want to pick, what they don't want to see played. Each team seems to kind of just target certain mains of champions. It doesn't seem to be like too heavily revolving around what's the meta pick or what the pro teams are doing. So I like the variations.
For sure. And also, you specifically are more in tune of what's meta, especially maybe even between these two teams. What do you think they're going to be prioritizing here, especially with the Vi band?
I actually am surprised by the Vi. I haven't seen Drago play that, I don't think. But if I know anything, it's that TSM Legend, you will see a Yorick ban, as we just saw. He's a really good Yorick player. It gets banned away from him pretty much every single game. They'll probably also ban the Urgot away from him, another champion he really likes.
Very interesting, going for the Nocturne ban as well, making sure they're high prioritizing the jungle aspect, maybe Draco being their best player on the enemy team. With the triple ban onto the jungler, that's going to be very...
The Amumu surprises me. I don't know if he plays it. Maybe he's just like an amazing Amumu player, but I just don't think the champion is that amazing right now or in a 5v5 setting, so that's definitely surprising.
For the Outlaws, the ban's looking a little bit more realistic here, in my opinion, banning out the Yorick as well as banning out the Syndra because of high priority picks maybe into Propay, and Caitlyn's always going to be a high priority pick, especially with the Yumi picking up first.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. I really like the Caitlyn ban. If you're not on blue side, you should be banning Caitlyn on red side, so that definitely makes sense at least.
I don't know why they picked up the Yumi first, especially that it can be countered with most Enchantress supports, especially with an all-in comp like Kai'Sa, Leona.
Yeah, Kai'Sa, Leona. Yeah, that's definitely going to be the kill lane. Definitely the more exciting bot lane to watch. I hate playing.
Do you think they're going to be picking up Ezreal here?
Ezreal Yumi is the special combo, but they are going to take Lucian. I have not seen the Lucian Yumi before. Have you?
I've seen it a couple times in the solo queue. It's okay, but it's not as strong as something like Ezreal, Twitch, stuff like that. But it still can be played, especially with the R calling buffs with Leona.
Okay, so the Yumi now makes more sense to me when you pick Olaf, because you just have the Yumi sit on the Olaf. You ult for him so people can't get away from him, and he just turns off disables and you run through as a team.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Especially now looking, maybe it's going to be a counter jungle pick from the Olaf here. What do you think would be a good pick into an Olaf?
Into an Olaf? You know, you're the jungler here, so I think you'd be better versed to say.
Oh man, I just ult F4 at this point. I don't want to face that.
That's Olaf's pretty hard to play against. It's hard to beat him at his own game as far as early games. If you can pick something that like reliably can fight him or outscale him. I know some pro teams like to pick Trundle because he can kind of keep up, and then he just ults him to steal the stats. But
yeah, for sure. It would either be something high priority on Mundo, maybe putting into the top lane. I could also see the Mundo coming into the jungle here as well, especially if you want to just go for the Mundo outscale, just let him farm up and do whatever he wants like him.
Yeah, he's pretty much impossible to kill, so I think matching the hard-to-kill aspect from the Yumi Olaf is definitely actually kind of smart from the Outlaws, because Mundo, he just presses R, he goes where he pleases, he hits you with his cleaver.
Yes, sir, and more mid laners, more mid lane mages specifically coming out from the ban against Lions. Has the enemy mid laner been really focused on those control mages?
His name is AP mid player.
It's true. I mean, that's self-explanatory, but yeah, to be honest, I don't even know what I was going with that.
No, it's fair. I know he is quite proficient on the mid lane control mages, but if his name's AP mid laner, like AP mid player, he's gonna get the AP mids banned away from him.
True, very true. What do you mean he's going full AD? He's gonna pick Zed right here.
You know, every time I talk that AP mid laner's gonna pick an AP mid, and every time I'm just like waiting for like a Zed or a Talon pick just to like throw us off.
Yeah. Oh man, I could only imagine. Definitely, I think for the bot lane matchup specifically here, the bot lane advantage is going over to the Kai'Sa Leona just for the early game picks, unless Lucian is very proficient at dodging. But bans are still coming away. More control mages.
The Anivia I was aware of, AP mid player, somewhat of a Froggen aspiring player.
I respect that.
He's pretty good at the Anivia. I believe he has played it before and he has won, so they're going to ban it away from him.
And finally, it looks like the Mordekaiser ban coming out here, making sure there's no Juggernaut presence to try to steal away from any like Yumi targets.
Mordekaiser like the most broken top laner aside from Shen, so...
Agreed. Looking at an Akali pick here, I think
spicy. I actually like that.
That's a very bold pick. I respect that a lot, especially that you can dance around and very much make the Lucian be afraid to go and walk into any of these fights. Especially if you want to gauge onto the Olaf and maybe play with his heart a little bit, especially that he can't repeat him. The set coming out here.
I like where they picked it too, because they can still flex that to top or mid.
Oh, for sure.
Assuming that's Mundo jungle at least.
The only problem is it can't, or I don't know, unless they do a double flex pick here, it's definitely going to be one or the other, just depending on what they want, because they can't really blind it, or like do an R5 kind of blind.
So we'll see the tiny master of evil.
Yes, sir, the Leadishin master.
The Cage, Vigor Cage, the most broken ability in the game. It's definitely a smart pickup. It also kind of prevents Leona from doing those engages that she wants, and champs like Mundo can't really do anything if they're stuck in the cage, or if the cage is in front of them, they can't. I can see the entire Outlaws comp really can't do what they want into a Vigor.
Oh, for sure. The only issue I have picking up the Vagar here is that this does exactly the opposite of what the other team comp wants, unless Vigar goes Glacial here, which it should be the route he's going for the all-in with the Glacial into the cage, just to assist maybe that Olaf to running in, or even the set with the flank,
Yeah,
Lucian walking in.
the pick potential. Oh,
The Zed pickup.
okay. Well,
Wow.
the Outlaws have an extremely entertaining team comp to say the least. Last time they were on stream, they picked the Yasuo Yon combo.
Yo, that's pretty hype. I like that.
It didn't work out for them, but hopefully these assassins can get big in this game.
I mean, definitely. I think that's an Akali top against that set there with the Zed mid lane to try to pressure off that Vagar from doing anything. Ah, man. Who do you think has like the major advantage here?
I'm gonna give it to the Outlaws. I think I like the Outlaws comp just as a whole better. I think when it comes to like skirmishes or when it gets to team fighting, I think their comp is just so much easier to execute. Where Olaf has to stay alive, he has to be constantly doing damage. Veigar can't get picked off. Lucian has to bring his dancing shoes. There's just it feels like there's so many variables for the Lions comp to actually succeed.
I agree with you, and especially if they're proficient on Akali, Zed, Kai'Sa, they can just let Mundo, Leona just toy with the front line, and all three of those champions can zoom in the back line and one-shot the Lucian Vagar.
Yeah, if Lucian and Veigar are dead at the beginning of the fight, there's just no way that the Lions can win the fight.
I'm trying to see. I'm trying to think of what the Olaf wants to path here, because he typically can go either blue or red solo it by himself, depending on the jungle item he picks up. Maybe he wants to be focusing bot mid here and let the just farm solo against the Akali. Maybe he could pick up something with Akali, but Akali shot is just always annoying to deal with, especially as a jungler.
Yeah, looking at the what the Lions' win condition is, they want that Olaf and they want that Lucian to be ahead and snowballing. Where if Olaf is behind and Lucian is behind early game, I think the Outlaws would just walk all over them. And for the Outlaws, those assassins, they need gold. They need to be ahead. They need assistance in. They need the resources they need to be able to delete that Lucian and Veigar later into the game, because Veigar just kind of like Senna just infinitely scales. The longer you're in the game with him, the lower chance you have of winning.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Especially, I think the mid-game power spike of the Outlaws is going to be astronomically huge. But if they do make it out the mid to the late game and let Vagar shine, especially if he is going the Glacial route, I think the Vagar can 1v9 this game.
Yeah, there's definitely 1v9 potential with the Veigar, even if Yumi's initial person she's sitting on dies. Yumi Vagar is actually pretty obnoxious with the amount of slow, and he's just like impossible to kill, especially if it's Glacial. Veigar, the amount of utility he has to peel himself or even for pick potential will be, like you said, pretty astronomical.
I think unless the Olaf gets super ahead, I think the route the Olaf should go is actually more of a tanky route. I don't believe, unless he can find some really good ganks with his Qs, especially early on, even into maybe, or especially into the bot lane. I think him going maybe for like more of a locket playstyle and protect the Vagar comp is probably very reassuring for the Vagar player.
I definitely agree with that. The value he can get out of Spirit Visage is going to be basically tripled when you have a Yumi on your team. So if he gets that early into some of the AP threats, he'll be extremely hard to kill.
Oh, for sure. I even think the Vagar actually could as well, or rush a Spirit Visage as well. If you want to go for like a double tank in the early games, just to secure the ability to survive the early game, and then maybe look for some more AP later, especially that you just get free AP stacks from last hitting and hitting abilities.
Yeah, that's very, very true. I think the Lions bot lane needs to definitely do their best to get ahead while also surviving the Leona CC lockdown, because once Kai'Sa gets 3 or 4 items, Lucian is going to be having a hard time just from the W spam poke. The ability to reposition in team fights, I think Kai'Sa is just a better champion the later the game goes.
And especially that we're going into the spectator weight here, do you think Lucian's going to go mana immune this game?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think Manamune might be more of a mid lane thing, but I'm not entirely sure. I think either build probably works here, but if I was Vor Daddy here, I would not go just to get some of those other items instead for a earlier presence and like spike a little bit sooner.
For sure, for sure. I think, or I even though I really enjoy Bork Lucian, and that's his main staple, Bork Lucian only has one target here, and it's kind of very. I guess Dr. Mundo would be a great target to get to the Bork, but it's only one target out of four, so I think I would just let the Veigar do it.
All right, guys.
As well,
poll is live, so you can type in chat who you think you win. There's a graphic on screen, so you guys can see. Who are you giving your vote to, though?
I mean, I really enjoy the Veigar pickup and just the idea of the protect the Veigar comp and ensure that he's ahead. So I'm actually going to go vote against my will and vote Lions here.
Okay, I see you. I mean, they are the team ahead in standings. I started the wrong poll, but we're good now. I think if this Veigar gets shut down by the Zed early game, it's just going to be so much harder for him to get those items and to play the game. It's really going to hurt his ability to 1v9 the team fights, 1v9 the late game.
Oh, for sure. I completely agree with you. It's definitely going to be reliant on the bot lane and the Olaf getting ahead, and if not, them just hopefully securing the Veigar into a somewhat of an even lane to a point where Veigar can maybe pick up, if he wants to, something like a Ninja Tabby into a Zhonya's. That can make Zed into a, make Zed have a hard time, especially against other threats like Set trying to ult him away from the team, or maybe Set ulting the Leona into the backline.
Yeah, Seeker's Arm Guard, one of the most broken core components in the game. Pretty uninteractive. The fact it gives stacking armor and magic resist is just beyond my own belief. So,
I agree.
That is the first item will keep him a lot safer in that early game.
I think Yuumi targets are actually really good for Outlaws here. You can get the Veigar to give him just a metroton of AP. You can put it onto the Olaf to make sure nobody moves onto the backline. You have Yuumi on Set, which does the same thing retrospectively. And then I think Lucian is probably the least most valuable Yuumi target, even though Lucian Yuumi is somewhat okay.
I actually definitely agree with that. It's like that meme where you survive laning phase as the ADC, and all of a sudden Yuumi has ditched you for your top laner.
Yup. Or your jungler, depending who's carrying.
Oh, but Yuumi, as long as I don't have to play against or see a Yuumi Garen for the rest of my life, I can die happy, man.
True, to be fair with you. As we're getting into the game here, the Mundo picking up the exhaust, didn't even realize that. Making sure he's guaranteeing if Olaf comes in for evade, he can get some support with the exhaust and make Olaf do 0 damage for a little bit.
Okay, we're having some client issues, but we are okay now.
That's good. Lucian picking up the teleport, even though Yuumi doesn't follow the Lucian with the teleport anymore.
Oh, I actually didn't know that was ever an interaction.
Yeah. For a long time, when Yuumi just came out, Yuumi could hop on to a teleporting target and it would make Yuumi come with them. But because Riot didn't want to see AD carries taking TP anymore with Yuumi, they just got rid of the interaction, which significantly hindered the Yuumi strength until later on when I think they buffed Yuumi. I can't quite remember.
I think they buffed her scaling, where she's like more mana hungry, but the heals she actually uses with that mana are a little bit stronger. But still more of a cap on
them. I think the Collie's gonna have a bad time into the top lane as well. What do you really think about that top lane matchup?
I think it's definitely Set favored, where you can kind of just eat all of the trades that Akali usually uses people to chunk them down to get them into like an all-inable state, especially with the Grasp. He's just gonna, in his passive, I think he'll sustain and block a lot of that Akali's damage, and eventually just through War of Attrition, he's gonna win that lane.
I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you.
All right, so pause at 5 seconds. Are you at 5 seconds?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, 3, 2, 1, and we are underway. Have to
The game. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say we'll have to see if there's any invades with the Leona level 1.
Oh, that's gonna be very entertaining. I don't even know their level 1 is even somewhat decent. I think Outlaw's level 1 is just gonna be astronomical, but it looks like the Olaf is going to be looking for invade with the team.
Yeah, Olaf's definitely good choice to invade with Qs. You can pick them back up to reapply that slow. Also, set started E, which I believe you start anyway. You can definitely have lots of lockdown potential there.
100% agree with you. Outlaw's looking for a 5-man point. Leona not paying attention, have to flash out immediately here. Olaf running in, maybe throwing in another axe. Decides not to continue the evade.
Yeah, they're just gonna clear. Ooh, unfortunately, not able to get that ward. If they got that ward, that actually would have been huge for them. Because you actually hit your level 2 1 minion earlier.
I I never knew that. Does it really give that much XP?
It's not that it gives that much XP, it's that you're that close to level 2 after 6 minions.
Okay. Set deciding to go to the top side here, maybe clearing out the blue buff solo. I think he actually got seen by the Zed there to see where he's starting out with. Oh wait, what is... I don't even know what I'm talking about. That's a top lane set. I'm completely thinking he's jungle set here. Olaf starting red buff.
You've been watching too much LEC and LCS.
Yes, sir. Mundo starting blue, red buff solo, even though they know where the know that he's not starting blue buff. He decided not to get the Akali to assist on that.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice because they already, like you said, they already knew that he was starting the top side, and Mundo's level 1 is actually pretty weak for jungle clear. As you can see, he's already pretty low.
I actually, if he's not even careful, I think he can die to Krugs still at this point, especially with Mundo always taking his HP down, but it seems like his clear is just well enough to eat Krugs and 2 Raptors, which is quite good insane.
I actually didn't know red Krugs gave you level 3.
Yeah, red Krugs giving level 3 is like how you can do red, blue... or Krugs gives the same amount of XP as Grub. It actually used to not do that until they have to buff Krugs XP a little while back, I think like beginning season 10.
Yeah, I knew they changed it, but I don't play much jungle, so...
Yeah, to be fair, I didn't either. Not at that time, at least. Looking at the top there, it seems like a little bit of a beginning fight coming into the Akali into the set, bringing set a little bit lower than he wanted to. I think that's a favorable trade against the Akali, especially with her fleet footwork pickup into the runes.
Yeah, both of them opting for the sustain keystone. Maybe not the exact same, but I still think Seth has the natural advantage of sustain, especially with the probably Doran's shield second wind.
A pickup here for sure. I think also Olaf looking for a gank here, which it can be decent. It looks like Seth's gonna start setting it up with the plays here. Wing early to try to get the damage off. Still Olaf running it down. Holly missing the first ability. Olaf hitting the second thing. Actually, I think he gets the kill if he wanted to all in there underneath the tower with the QE.
Yeah, I think a QE and maybe even an auto or two actually does kill that Akali.
Looking over to the mid lane, it seems like Veigar's having a wonderful time against the Zed, just poking him out, farming it up, and enjoying his life. Same as the Mundo, actually.
Yeah, that matchup doesn't get too volatile until level 6 when Zed can pretty much decide to kill Veigar at any point in time.
For sure, and looks like Zed's going to come in for assistance on the crab, but it doesn't matter. Zed having to flash out because Mundo didn't want to continue the fight.
Yeah, that seems like a little bit of a miscommunication there, where Zed wanted to fight the Veigar there, deny the crab, but Mundo wanted no part in that, and he forced to flash out of the cage.
I think the Mundo's plan was a little bit more safe and sound, especially that they have more scaling into the middle game than making a volatile play like fighting an Olaf, really.
Oh yeah, completely.
bot lane there, both running low on demand on the Lucian and the Yumi, while it looks like the Leona and the Kai'Sa have been actually enjoying themselves into that lane.
Yeah, they seem to be having a good time. You can take as many good trades as you want, but the problem with Yumi is she just presses one ability and everyone's back to full health.
Yep, welcome to Yumi. I think earlier on it's not as insane or scary like that, but definitely I think around level 9 is when Yumi heals start becoming absolutely disgusting.
Oh yeah, it's so... I don't even know the words for it. It's unfun at the minimum.
Unfun at best, unfair at worst. That's what I say. And also Mundo coming out with the level 4 solo onto the dragon, uncontested, not even knowing that Mundo was doing it there. Huge pickup with the mountain soul, especially for somebody like Mundo or Leona, or something like the Assassins against Veigar.
Leona and Mountain is actually pretty broken in my opinion, because the W scaling, you get the extra resistances from the Mountain Dragon, or the Mountain Soul, if depending on the game, but you basically pretty much become unkillable when you have that W active.
Oh, 100% there, especially if him opting into the Aftershock, making him absolutely tanky for, absurdly tanky is the word I was looking for, against that enemy team comp in the bot lane. But my big question for you is, what Dragon Soul do you want them to be looking for, especially on both sides? It's going to be either Cloud or Pearl.
Outlaws for sure wants Ocean, because Ocean Soul Mundo is pretty broken. No killing him whatsoever there. And if I am... I guess both teams kind of want Ocean, but that might just because Ocean is broken.
Yeah, I mean, I think every team comp wants Ocean Dragon, to be fair. But going in with the Mundo, looking for a gank, no Cleaver missing, and Veigar just walking away with his life, continually happily stacking up his passive.
Yeah, he had no fear whatsoever, just pushing up to that turret looking for the plates. Even though I don't think he had vision of the Mundo there, but he was just able to walk it out.
Unfortunately, knowing that the Dragon Soul or Ocean Soul is not going to be picked up because second Dragon is Ocean, it would be absolutely spicy to see an Infernal Dragon coming up, especially that would bring Outlaws to a very, very nice delicacy where they can pick up some early dragons, maybe rushing for an Infernal Soul just to give that extra damage to destroy the Veigar or the Lucian on the enemy team.
Yeah, and on the flip side, Infernal Soul Veigar is exactly probably what he wants. I don't know if he even cares about Ocean, because these extra scaling he gets is insane.
For sure. A little bit of a poke coming out of the top lane, nothing too serious. Both wounds definitely easily being able to heal back up due to the runes.
Yeah, this top lane, there's a small CS discrepancy, but I was kind of expecting more out of the set. I was expecting Akali to be struggling, but maybe just playing the matchup well.
For sure. Coming in, looking for an all-in with the start of the ulti, missing the E, unfortunately, goes for the perfect execution. Not seeing the kill, but he's still going to be trading underneath, flashing, getting first blood as the Akali picks up, backing Olaf, ulting, flashing into the Akali here. Akali looking to escape with the Blast Cone, able to get that free first blood.
Yeah, it was actually pretty well played by Akali, other than missing the E, but that just happens. I didn't even think she had the damage, but she did.
Looking into the TP, looking for the revenge here, Set running away from the Akali, looking to get a pick up onto the Mundo. Mundo looking to fight against the Set, but Set does not care, getting up the revenge kill with the red buff.
Yeah, able to trade that one back after... I'm actually surprised Mundo was able to... Oh, the bot lane.
Bot lane coming in, looking for an all-in here. Kai'Sa looking away, flashing with the Lucian here. Oh, coming back with the Kai'Sa, autoing the minion, barely surviving against it. Walking away, Yumi picking up the first blood. Picking up the Kai'Sa there, and running away from the Leona after the Leona coming down.
Just one of the great ultimate by Brave Carcass there on the Kai'Sa, able to keep himself alive long enough to get that Lucian kill. Unfortunately, does get taken down by the Leona, but Tainted Red doing a great job keeping his ADC as alive as long as possible.
For sure. Definitely getting the kill over to the Kai'Sa is very nice, but the TP utilage against the Lucian, picking up some extra minions, pushing the wave out before the Kai'Sa can get there, would actually, I think, go favoring towards the Lucian, the Yumi lane.
Yeah, the going 1-for-1 and a scaling.
Going mid lane, going all into the Zed here, picking up the ultimate. Unfortunately, missing his entire combo with the Qs, with the happy feet on the onto the Veigar, and him chilling afterwards.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the Ignite visual changes, but I actually really like those.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. I think it gives more of an indication of if a target's ignited or not, and maybe even saving somebody's flash or whatnot. Maybe saving a couple summoners if you see the ignite coming out before you flash.
It's just like a quality of life change. I'm surprised wasn't added into the game earlier.
Quick question: what do you think about the of the Cutlass into Black Cleaver as set top?
I think it's good. I think Bork is just a really broken item at the moment, and into a Mundo that's going to let him able to deal that Mundo a lot easier with the percent health damage.
Okay.
Oh, but a nice double cage.
Double cage looking in here. All in coming with the ultimate out with the Leona flashing away to saving her life. Zed looking to get a kill onto the Olaf, missing the second Q. Fortunately, Mudo's still looking in as the ultimate's running off. Blue side has to back off and maybe even give up the dragon here.
Yeah, it was a well-played skirmish, them able to keep themselves alive. As Akali looking for the perfect execution again here.
For sure, getting a kill up to the top lane, making sure Set has no way to be able to do anything. Flash coming over with the Zed, but Leona picking up the solo kill. Looking like a dive coming into the ball lane. Ulti coming down to the Lucian here. Zed combo coming out of all of it. Lucian able to survive because of the uni heal and ultimate coming down.
Yeah, a good fight for the Outlaws here. Able to get themselves the Drake, able to get a couple more kills out of the entire deal as well as Akali picking up the solo kill top lane during that.
For sure, this game going towards the Outlaws here. Absolutely phenomenal play, especially rolling into that mid game. Really when their champions start spiking.
Yeah, for sure, and it will be the Infernal Soul. I'm happy to see that. I think it's definitely more exciting than the Cloud. I don't know if
going in here, Leona going with the E ultimate all in, securing that Lucian death. Kaisa looking in to see if she can pick up the Yumi there with the W, but unfortunately not enough damage. Absolutely massacring, just a massive massacre coming out of the lines here. Able to pick up so many kills, especially into early team fights with that skirmish onto the dragon, into the looking potential dive into the bot lane, but re-engaging with the Kaisa and Leona there to secure the Lucian's death.
Yeah, that was well played by their bot lane. Able to pick up. I have an issue with the stream graphic here. There we go.
That's fine. Take your time, take your time.
No, we're good now.
Okay, very good. Looks like if Veigar is actually pressuring first tower into the mid lane, which is absolutely crazy how much plating he has been picking up by himself, securing a 20 CS lead. What do you think his items are going to be looking like after the Lost Chapter?
So the Lost Chapter, he did go the Glacial, so that's pretty much guaranteed to be the GLP for the utility. After that, I assume he'll go Spooky Ghost for the CDR and the added pick potential.
I agree with you 100%. This Zed is not having a fantastic time right now. I think he might, just based off of the Clawfields and the Serrated Dirk, he'll be looking for the Ghost Blade heroes over the Dusk Blade. But for sure, this Olaf looking to see if he can get a dive in.
Yeah, the Ghost Blade gives you a lot more roam potential, as they're going to 3-man that turret to make sure they get it. And getting first mid tower really opens up the map, allows you to drop some deeper vision, kind of blocks off, lets you get vision of the other team's rotations as well.
Agreed, I agreed. A little bit more disappointment just coming from the Olaf here, not abusing his early game with maybe some advantages like invading the Mundo early to try to shut down the Mundo ulti, but seems like the Set picking the kill back up onto the top lane air is going to be a good time for the Set, actually.
Yeah, that was actually well played with him to use the Facebreaker shield to survive Akali ultimate damage. And then
Looks like there's going to be an all into the bot lane. Olaf trying to get into a gank, getting poked down with the passive one-shot. Lucian getting flashed on and exhausted. The heal coming out to save the Kai'Sa from here, trying to walk away. Lucian dying, and Yumi have to run away with his cat paws.
Mundo OP, I guess?
Mundo OP going
Mundo
for the
is going where he
here.
pleases.
Securing it up, but training the shutdown into the Yumi there, maybe picking up an early item, maybe to assist the Lions here, maybe picking up a key crucial item, maybe Athene's, maybe, I don't know, Arden first.
Mundo playing to his voice lines there, going where he pleases. He doesn't care if the wave isn't pushed in, just right-clicking that Yumi to death. A nice shutdown, but he does pay with his life.
Pays with his life indeed, but to be fair, this Mundo is just only going to get tankier at this point and being more of a hindrance against this comp. I don't even know what they can do at this point. Maybe just, again, play around the Veigar. Absolutely high amount of damage coming from the set here, doing a just tremendous amount of damage. Looking for the Akali here, perfect execution, eating that set's life, unable to get for that double auto to clean up that Akali kill.
Really played by the Akali. Lucian, the trade was looking so good for TSM Legend there, but all of a sudden you can't attack someone when you can't hit them, right-click them, or see them in Shroud, and able to use the full mobility of Akali's kit to pick up that kill.
100% agree with you, and TP is up for the Akali here, maybe looking for a play, TPing onto the bot side wave, pushing that out a little bit more, putting more pressure onto the Lions to do something about this Infernal Dragon.
Yeah, this is going to put the Outlaws on still point, so the Lions have to respond here.
Agreed, for a 5-man fight, all in, coming into the Olaf here, absolutely shredded, but it doesn't even matter, the 5-man ultimate coming from the set in the backline, getting picked up by the Akali here, an absolutely messy fight, but Olaf is going where he pleases at the moment, getting some massive heals coming out of them as passive, for his passive ultimate rather, coming in for more of an aggressive hit, E coming out, stunning from the Lucian here, getting the pickup with the Akali with the Eel right now. Leona looking for the 1v1 onto the Lucian, being able to be picked up. Yumi getting picked up by the Akali. It looks like it's going to be a clean pickup with the Akali here.
Wait, Mundo actually lived?
Mundo did live. He walked away after his passive. I think he flashed out from the Lucian, killing him with one more auto attack.
Well played by basically all of the Outlaws there, and this Akali is an absolute problem at this point in the game. 7-1. Like we were saying before the game, these assassins need to get their lead. They need items to be able to execute their damage, and a 7-1 Akali with Gunblade and Sork Boots this early. Veigar and Lucian no longer able to play the game. Their rights to play have been revoked.
100% agreed with you here. I actually, at this point, it's going to be a 4v5 because Olaf is going very much of a squishy build, going for that warrior into Phage. Maybe looking for a Black Cleaver, and his only defensive item is an Ninja Tally, but there is going to be half of Zed's HP coming out there with an EQQ by, or Q auto by set up in the top lane.
And Olaf, early game champion, he fell behind the early game. I'm not sure there's much he can do to even get back in at this point.
Me neither, to be fair, especially with the Lucian being 1-4, and that Akali's having a bunch of targets just to chew her fangs into.
And like I was saying in draft, in order for the Lions comp to this comp to work and for them to win the game, their win condition, the Olaf and Lucian needed to be ahead early game. But the Outlaws doing a great job of shutting down the Lions' win condition, and it's paying off dividends now.
What do you think the Lions are going to be able to do at this point, especially that people are slow dancing to see if we're looking for objectives like the Rift Herald?
You basically, I think you sacrifice all of your tier 1s, maybe even tier 2s if you have to. You delay the game as much as you can, try and slow it down at all costs to give Veigar time to scale.
While Veigar's almost getting one shot by the Kali looking for the Zonias here. Oh my god, absolutely crazy. Walking forward to make sure he gets the kill. Coming with the Zed with the ultimate here. Full combo coming out of the Zed. unfortunately taking a metric ton of damage from the set, but it doesn't matter because he has teams back it up. While there's also another skirmish with the Yumi, Mundo going to come down due to the exhaust damage there, not able to do a lot at that point.
So the Lions losing the top and mid laner there, but they are able to trade it in the the enemy jungle there. At least getting
all in going to the Lucian here. Leona kind of getting caught out a little bit behind the turret there. It looks like he's going to be set alone. Them focusing down the tower while Leona destructs.
Oh yeah, well played by the Outlaws to get that turret, able to pick up 2 kills. They do pay a little bit too much with it. I think going a little too greedy, going into for the dive and the invade. But they're snowballing their lead like they should be.
For sure, and making sure the Akali not giving away her bounty to any of the high priority targets, like I would say just the Veigar at this point, would be very massive. So keeping herself ahead, keep farming while objectives are being out, maybe even spook pushing, would be will pay dividends for sure.
Yes, for sure.
Veigar stun coming out here, doing half of Akali's health bar, making sure she's trying to ulti out of the place, but getting Veigar ulti, picking up a massive shutdown to Veigar with another baby cage. Looking to see if they can fight here, but Set getting picked up by the Kaisa there. Massive damage coming out from the Kaisa. Another baby cage coming in, looking for the one-shot into the Kaisa there. Outlaws are just getting picked apart, man. Getting baby caged every single time. They're picking a massive amount of shutdown into the gold into the Veigar, influxing so much gold into him.
And just like that, I'm now actually a little bit worried for the Outlaws here that massive Akali shutdown was going to exactly who they wanted. Veigar now has the GOP, the Zanyas, and looking to build the Rabadons, or if they're able to pick up some Infernal Drakes here, delay the soul, give Veigar more time to scale, his 1v9 potential just pretty much tripled.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Even though the Mundo picking up the Spirit Visage and looking for maybe... I'm trying to think, maybe it would be really good for the Mundo picking up a Locket here just to make sure he can make his team survive a little bit longer while they're giving the Akali the blue buff.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. These Veigar cages are just so hard to deal with, and he's been hitting key targets every single time he throws it out.
Now, what do you think would be a really good really good item to be picked up while a fight is looking to start here, taking Set a little bit of chunk coming into the set there. Still looking for a fight while Mundo is just sitting there enjoying himself, walking into the set but not caring because he still has ultimate. A lot of damage coming out from the Akali, or coming into the Akali rather. Baby cages coming out all around, more damage into the Mundo here, forcing the ultimate out. Mundo looking to fight, but at this point it's just getting poked out. Zed's looking for the all-in here, gets the Set onto the target, but Set just ultis him, slams him to the ground. Absolutely annihilated. I don't even think...
Yeah, Zed playing his cards a little too aggressively there. Wing forward, has no escape, and then ultimates, but pays with his life.
I just seriously don't know what Outlaws can do at this point. It's just Akali needs to focus on the Veigar, but he's just getting babysat by the entire team, including Yumi heals. Especially,
they were able to deny the soul there, which is absolutely massive for them. It gives them more time on the clock to give Veigar to get more items, more stacks.
Do you think the Akali should pick up a Morellas here, or what previous wounds do you think they should pick up, or what targets should be having?
Ideally your AD champion spot, just because it's 800 gold compared to 3,000. But I think the flat pen and grievous wounds is actually definitely worthwhile, opposed to the Leandries this game for Akali. She needs the burst, she needs the anti-heal to kill those key targets. She doesn't really want to be hitting the Olaf for the set anyway this game, so I think that would be the correct buy.
And Nikaisa unable to get into the backline easily as like she wants Veigar, you're so good, as typed into the chat. There also is a massive CS lead into the mid lane as well. Probably checking out the gold charts would be kind of insane. Where do you think the gold is? All in coming into the Veigar there, forcing the flash, but Veigar's stuck in a terrible position, but it doesn't look like it even matters. All in goes into the Veigar, Zed getting picked up. Leona's still trying to stun the Veigar. The Zed Ignite picks up the Veigar, while the rest of the team tears the Outlaws apart.
Yeah, the Outlaws finally able to bring that Vygar down, but at what cost, as they are now losing the rest of their team. Kali was bot this entire time, split pushing, so it's probably not a fight they wanted to take without her, but now she's on the
Kali
flank.
looking for the cleanup, though. Getting one kill, getting massive damage from 2 targets, looking to come back in. Unfortunately, missing a combo just a little bit to get the one shot onto the Olaf rather, and just Lucian trying to cut out a Mundo. But again, Mundo does go where he pleases at that point.
Yeah, Mundo is insanely hard to kill. He's got the utility now to keep these targets in place, going where he pleases. We see, oh, he's not gonna dive. I got
Probably.
excited.
I was excited too. I'll be like, let's just see.
Kill the cat!
Kill it! No. Oh man.
Like, seriously, every time I'm in a game with Yumi and I see her off of a target, there's like, I've never seen a team unite against one like single player focusing on the person.
It used to be Teemo, now it's Yumi.
It's just immediately everyone wants to kill. Mordekaiser's death roaming the Yumi.
Oh man. Also, it looks like there's going to be no contest onto the Baron here, putting gold, or continuing the gold lead from the Outlaws here. But at this point, I think Veigar is evening the gold lead out just by himself.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how the Outlaws got that because they just lost a fight, but I guess they played the reset timers just well enough where the entire Lions team was either dead or resetting, so they were able to just pretty much get that for free.
What's your opinion about this Olaf's build at this point?
I think since he was behind early game, I think he should have committed for a more supportive full tank option and let his survivability do the damage for him. So personally, I'm not a huge fan, but it does seem to actually kind of helped him get back into the game a little bit.
For sure, as the Outlaws here looking to execute this Baron by running down mid lane to get as many turrets as possible. Who do you think should be split pushing at this point for the Outlaws?
For the Outlaws, it should be probably running a 4-1 with a Kali in the side lane. She does have the teleport up, so if something does start to engage, she can use the teleport to join the fight whenever. And she's pretty much impossible to match this far ahead in the side lane. So
Zed getting picked up, getting one tap to the Veigar there. Absolutely disgusting champion.
He used his outplay button, so he outplayed him.
I thought Cinder had an outplay button. Jesus Christ. Mundo popping the ultimate early, looking like they're going to take the Mundo down, but he's just so tanky. It takes so long to do, but he's managed to pick it up.
Yeah, these baby cages, as you call them, are just completely messing up the Outlaws, how they want to execute their comp. They're getting picked off. This is turning into easy number advantages and more time for them to scale and pick up some more objectives. As they were the ones with Barons, but now they're the ones being pushed off this Infernal.
Which is very, very, very sad to see, especially with the Kali coming in to look like to one-shot the Lucian there, but getting picked up by the Vygar cage, making him cry just a little bit as he dies.
And for those of you that were wondering why I called Vygar cage the most broken basic ability in the game, here's why.
Actually, to be fair with you, I think Akali should have picked up a QSS early just to be able to dive the Veigar over and over again, especially in early team fights.
I actually completely agree with that. Or maybe even a Banshee's Veil, I guess, if you can time that right. I guess it's a little less... you can't really use that exactly when you want to, though.
Oh, for sure, unless you can somehow find a easy time to do it when you're up. Maybe like a good flank or something, just so you can just R yourself into his cage, so it doesn't even matter at that point, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't see a single really QSS on the side of the Outlaws here, so it's pretty much a free kill for the Lions here if they do get the cage.
100% agreeing with you. I think at this point the Outlaws are relying on Mundo's tankiness just to eat through the team and maybe chase down the Veigar, but Veigar is such a huge problem, especially picking up that triple kill into one of the earlier fights. I actually can't see a way where the Outlaws can reliably get onto that Veigar.
Yeah, and as we were talking about earlier, Akali opting for the Leandries this game. LS would be proud, but I actually think Morello's was the right call here, especially against the Yumi, and especially when you need that burst to kill that Vygar.
What's your opinion about Morello Leandri's? People have been picking up recently.
I think Leandri's into Oblivion Orb is really good, but just I think both of them together is not necessarily optimal.
Definitely a waste of stats as well.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw, I think it was Nemesis on the Orianna where he had Seraphs, Rabadons, Leandries, and an Oblivion Orb, and he just one-shot people.
Really? Holy moly.
Yeah, I think he pressed R with the Ori Shockwave, just dead.
Flash coming out of Kaisa there, getting gunned down, opting to Zanya's at that point, or stopwatch rather, I should say, and dying for it. I think he was actually out if he just kept going.
I actually agree with that. I think the Zanyas was just in the moment of, oh my god, I'm gonna die, I need to Zanyas, where if he had kept calm a little bit longer, I think he could have walked that one out.
Getting a double stun off to the Veigar, just absolutely annihilating that Zed, making sure that Mundu got nowhere at that point. Easy pickups coming from the Veigar.
Yeah, these cages are absolutely disgusting. He's always hitting the key member, if not more people, and the rest of the team have nice setup to be able to follow up on those cages, and it's just like pretty much free picks for them, especially with the glacial GLP, the slow. It's pretty hard to even dodge the spells, even if you don't land a stun and you're in the cage.
Especially at this point that the Outlaws unable to pick up the Infernal Soul, hitting 30 minutes when Zed and Akali starts to fall off the face of the earth. I don't even think they have any ability to catch up to this game, and this Kaisa can 1v9.
And Stream, just so you know, Veigar sitting at 1.2000 AP. 1.2000.
That is not an okay number.
No, especially for 30 minutes. That is a ridiculous amount of AP to have this early on. He must be stacking this insanely well.
As well as the Infernals really helping out in that department with that percentage AP or adaptive bonus. Flashing coming out of the Leonair, unable to pick up the stun with the E or the R, but walking away from his life as is Olaf almost finding his life taken away. Akali looking to back up to the backside, Set looking to 1v1 the Akali, just doing a little bit too much damage, but ulting the Akali out of her shroud, allowing the Veigar to just point-and-click kill her.
And Veigar pressing his out skill button and just deleting Akali off the face of the earth.
And Zed looking to get exhausted there, fortunately getting out there with his life, making a couple ultimates, getting popped by the Lions here, but at this point, this Veigar's just been taking over the game.
Gurf, just to reiterate myself, that is 1.2000 AP on a 30-minute Veigar. 1200.
And Dragon, third Dragon, either soul point for the Outlaws here, making it seem like they have somewhat of a chance, but picking up the Baron there, coming across, I just realized I had my Fog of War on red side for no reason, so give me a second.
No worries. And with the Baron buff, that number will increase to 1300, and as we see the Infernal Drake spawning, this number is only going to get higher and more disgusting.
At this point, what do you think the Veigar is going to build for his final item?
Pretty much anything he... that damage is actually breathtaking.
This game's over.
It looks like they're going to get this Drake as well, and the Outlaws are in trouble.
Just the Veigar cage just pushing the rest of the team out while Lucian's getting one up in the back, but the rest of the team's getting the Kaisa actually out of the range of the Veigar. There's actually really bad to see. The Veigar all alone. Looks like he's going to actually get picked up at that point. His entire team's damage now completely gone. The Set's trying to run down the Leona at this point, getting the kill, while the Akali, it seems like she's just going to take over the rest of the fight.
And yeah, just like that, it was looking so good for the Lions. They got the Dragon, but they're going to pay with pretty much their entire team's lives for picking up that Drake.
It is now only going to be a 2v2, but it's going to be the most fed members of the Outlaws here being alive at this point. I don't even know if Set Yumin can handle this, especially at the 2-item versus the almost 4-item Akali.
Thankfully, they do have the Baron buff to slow down this push, just from the added stats that the minions do get.
100% there. Actually, they're opting out of not pushing any further because of that Baron, I think, saving and then inhibitor there.
Able to hold on there. The gold lead is actually insanely close for pretty much the first time in the game. This next dragon will pretty much decide the entire game, as Flygar gets a 4 Infernal Soul. That's literally something that you do in Practice Tool.
Oh no, man, this game looks so bleak for Outlaws at the moment.
They did win a huge fight, but...
Oh, for sure. The only way I think at this point the Outlaws can win is if they get a key pickup onto the Veigar here, maybe looking for him to get the blue buff here, maybe looking for like a 4-man dive onto the Veigar while he's getting that blue buff. But otherwise, I don't see any way that the Outlaws can win this game.
Yeah, as you said, it is definitely looking bleak for them. If the Lions are able to keep getting picks with the Veigar cage, they for sure will win. But in that 5v5 we saw, like at the last Dragon fight, where they were a little bit split up, they were able to punish the bad positioning and able to come out on top of that team fight pretty much, the Outlaws were. So if they can force an opportunity like that, they might still have a chance.
100% agreeing with you, especially that the Akali has been looking for the planks recently, especially with the most recent fight, even though the Lions were picking up the Infernal Soul, he was able to take out the Lucian very early in the fight, making it a 4v5. But it seems like he's going to be caught out here, making sure there's no TP coming out of it, trying to escape with his life. Lucian saying hello, knocking the blast code back into the Akali there. Akali trying to one-shot the Lucian, popping the Zhonya's, but I think it's a little late. I don't even know if that's English at the point, but yeah. Coming in with the Yuumi set here, bringing every single one of the members together, saying happy birthday, doing a metric ton of damage while Veigar tries to catch up. The Lucian Zed ulti coming onto the set here, trying to one-pop them. Veigar having some happy times, just pressing buttons and one-popping the guys with the Q there, looking like it's going to be a line win.
Yeah, the Outlaws are aced. Only TSM Legend falls in that fight. Disgusting damage coming out of the Veigar here. And as it looks like this should be game here, Olaf probably just going to take the turret. And look how much his auto-student turrets does more than the Lucian.
Oh, APD, he doesn't even have a sorcerer. I think, what is it called again? The sorcery potion, the AP potion, where it gives true damage against towers.
And yet, Veigar just a split-pushing legend as Lions pick up the win here.
Holy moly, GG coming over to Lions there. Is there any real thing you can look for into the Lions, the Outlaws' perspective and see where they messed up there?
They did do a great job of shutting down that Olaf and Lucian early. I think the Zed pick, they weren't able to fully capitalize on it. Not able to get that snowballing lead, putting that Veigar behind. If you can delay the scaling, I think you have an easier time. I think you get that Infernal Soul, delaying that from them. Maybe with the Infernal Soul you can close it out against them. But I think it mostly revolves around that Veigar getting ahead, scaling pretty easily and safely, and just pretty much turning the entire tides of the game around.
Looking also at this, or at the damage graph, just in general, absolutely disgusting numbers coming out of the Veigar, getting those early kills coming in, and just securing his damage for the rest of the game.
Yeah, the Lucian damage is also nothing to laugh at, as he actually pretty much kept up with the Veigar by the end of the game. So well played to Vordaddy to come back from that early game deficit.
Oh, definitely, for sure. Actually, quite surprising in my case, or in my opinion, especially that he started out of the game 1-4 out of laning phase.
Yeah, but I guess grouping around the Fed members of your team is a good enough strategy, as he was able to pick up some gold based off of the strength of his other teammates, able to get himself back into the game and able to be a major contributor into why they were able to turn that around.
And what do you think of Outlaws' key game, or just next time into the games? What do you think their key idea in fighting against the Lions?
Well, I think it's force AP mid laner onto an AD mid laner.
I completely concur. Do you guys, or do you want to do like an interview afterwards? What do you want to do after this?
We usually save interviews for playoffs. We are going to take a short break right now as we wait for the other teams to be ready for game number 2. So I will send it over onto the break. I will also throw up your player of the game poll, so be sure to vote on that, guys. But we will be right back. And welcome back to the analyst desk, friends. You guys have voted your player of the game. It was no other than the AP mid player on the Vigar. And let me just say, I literally never want to play against a 4 Infernal Soul Vigar in my life. That was absolutely disgusting coming up for him. At one point, it literally made me lose the words in my train of thought. With the amount of damage he was doing with just one W, taking out basically like a fairly tanky Leona's health bar pretty much instantly. But AP mid laner using those cages to their full broken potential, getting lots of picks, using it completely well. The rest of the lines able to follow up on those picks. Definitely a really impressive comeback from them. Maybe the best comeback we've seen this split. So well played to AP mid player and well played to the rest of the Lions. But for now, guys, we are ready with game number 2, so I will send it back over to same page so we can get back to the pick and ban for game number 2.
Hello, guys, and welcome to game number 2 with the Spartans versus the Guardians here. Transitioning into maybe another phenomenal game like we saw last game, where we just saw a back and forth where there was maybe just a major player like the Akali to the top side with the or versus a Veigar on the mid lane. Do you think these teams are going to be looking for more of a mid game or early game or late game?
You know, usually I think the initial late game or early game leads that people get stick through these type of competitive 5v5 leads. But after that game, I'm not so sure anymore. That Vigar scaled so well, and the initial lead that the Outlaws were able to get just seemed like nothing to him, as able to get some key picks, some key shutdowns, and turning around the entire game.
As well as, or completely agree with you, and well as I know the Spartans a little bit more than the Guardians here. What is so special about the Guardians being 4-2?
They've had some, in my opinion, some really successful drafts that they've pulled off, as well as Raylene being a really great jungler. He farms really well. He ganks at the right times. Goob, a strong solo top laner. And they also, the Guardians have, I think they just have a really well-rounded comp where they play well as a unit. The last time we saw them on stream, they were absolutely stomping teams.
100% agree with you. By the way, does that mid laner play Sona?
Yes, he does. It used to be a support main, but now switched over to the mid lane, and it has been working well.
Very nice, very nice. Completely agree. 1 second. Sorry about that.
No worries.
As well as I think, coming in here, I know a little bit about the Spartans with High Reef being their prime shot caller there, making sure all the kind of understandment of what's happening into the Spartans here is coming through High Reef, especially where the mid laner is more for an AP focus. Top lane plays a lot of picks that can be carry or tank, such as like Shen for more of a tank and maybe more of a carry role.
I didn't even consider that we could see River Shen this week.
Yo, River Shen, I like to hear it.
It's TSM. Thank you for doing that to all of our solo queue games. We'll never forgive you, Spica. I've already seen it run it down in my solo queue games, so thank you a lot for that.
Oh, of course, of course. I always knew Shen was going to be a decent jungler, but TSM bringing out, making sure that everybody's wet dreams when they see a Shen ganking bot into an ultimate top lane feels fantastic.
Or when he teleports bot to save his team and gets a double kill, and then he teleports back top and he hasn't missed a single minion of XP or gold.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I think it's really fair and balanced, let alone the rest of his kit.
Imagine a TF and a Shen doing that the entire game.
Oh, that's actually a good strategy. My team was experimenting with the Shen Galio Nocturne, where Nocturne gets to ult onto wherever he wants. He gets a Shen ult onto him, and Galio gets to ult on top of him as well, literally making him invincible.
Oh, 100% getting that MR and that just blanket shield. That was super nice for the Nocturne. The only problem I ever seen with that comp is if somebody just flashes against the Nocturne Fear. But either way, I think that's a really good comp.
This team's looking to have a few issues here with The PentaQ draft, we are sorting it out as soon as we can, though. Should be started momentarily.
For sure, for sure. Starting out with the banning from Spartans here, what do you think their first couple bans are going to be?
Goob, a good Aatrox player. Spartans also probably want to ban that Volibear away from Raylene. He's been super successful on the tower dives with the Volibear. Also just having huge farm discrepancies between him and the other junglers, so I expect that to be banned away. But what do I know as these teams go for the Hecarim and Morgana?
I'm completely agreeing with you. I know Hecarim being a high priority pick, coming from a Hecarim abuser himself.
Very
Also,
true.
a blue side Caitlyn ban is very interesting as well, not making Thomas play Caitlyn today.
I guess Thomas doesn't like the Caitlyn pick, and they don't want the other team to have it, and they don't want to give that free bot lane to the other side, as Thomas's Jhin and Aphelios will be banned. But the most broken top laner in the game has entered the chat.
Welcome, Shen. Maybe some River Shens coming out here.
Very
maybe
true. And if you want to counter the Shen, you could also just pick Vayne.
for sure.
I'm not salty about it at all.
No, definitely not. I could never be imagined. I would have never imagined that. I would love to see the River Shen coming out completely debating the Aatrox pick, because Aatrox having a horrible time into anything that get into his face. Maybe they could debate out the Aatrox there.
I actually really hope it is River Shen. It's too spicy of a meme to pass up on. It's clear seems to be fine, and it's got great global pressure.
100% here, especially that Woven Alchemist seen on AP picks. What's a good AP pick into this double, this Aatrox onwards?
I'm a huge fan, like I said, of the Galio Shen, where Shen ults onto someone, keeping them pretty much invincible, and then Galio gets to follow suit on top of the Shen, and all of a sudden your team's front line has arrived onto the back line with one of your carries.
Completely agree. Getting a nice and standard poke kill comp with the Ashe into the Leona here, especially with Ashe having map hacks, making all the junglers cringing when she just presses E and sees exactly where you're at all times.
I knew as a jungle main you'd have something interesting to say about Ashe. Every single one does.
Man, might as well just kill me at that point too. Can I headshot me? Man. Man, I'm gonna go look for a gank here right after I clear this. Never mind.
Never mind. Nice, you just spotted me on my blue side Grump from bot lane.
100% here, and the Kai'Sa Nautilus getting picked up here. Another gnarly kill comp into the bot lane. What do you think their main goal is with a jungler pip coming from Guardians?
I know Raylene could play a lot. I think the Volibear is open, so if it does get through the second fan of bases, I think they will lock that in for him. It just gives them so much so much dive potential with the rest of their comp.
100% agreed with you. I'm just very interested of what the picks are going to be coming out of the Spartans here, especially having a newly addition help maybe securing this win through the draft.
A good ban on Malzahar. First time Sona has been finding all kinds of success on that champion, really using the wave clear to its fullest, pressing E on all of the waves, pressing R for kills, as Malzahar does.
I think actually Malzahar is a really sleeper OP mid laner, especially how much he can cheat and get away with, like from farming and getting free pushback and stuff like that.
But like, I just really want to see if it's River Shen or not.
I know. Coming from my boy, I don't think it's gonna be coming into the jungle here, but I would have loved to see it for sure.
Maybe if it gets like a sweet counter pick. Maybe if they pick the jungle here and it's like super free for River Shen. I don't know. I'm just trying to get it.
For sure here. If it isn't going to be River Shen, what are you looking for in the jungle for the Spartans?
It's hard to say because the Guardians have not picked theirs, so stealing the Volibear from Raylene would actually be a pretty good idea here. You have the Shen ultimate to keep him alive even when Tower comes back online, and diving with a Ashe Leona bot lane is pretty free, as we do see the Galio and...
And the Jarvan. Holy, very aggressive pick coming from the J4 here, opting out of meta picks at the moment, maybe to steal up some easy kills with the J4 or Galio combo.
So the J4 Galio combo is extremely good because J4, he gets to flag and drag and lock down some key members of the Guardians, and then Galio just ults on top of him to keep him alive. He also has the Shen ult to keep him alive, but we see Kindred locked in as the last pick for Guardians.
I think there's a lot of pick potential coming out of this comp, as well as some gnarly engages with the Galio J4, especially that you see that there's very little dashes, just freelance dashes coming out of the Guardian side, only being picked up by the Kindred and the Aatrox here, maybe being able to foreshadow a lot of summoner spells during fights.
Yeah, also pretty good into the Kindred and the Galio with the I believe her E does percent damage, or she usually bores a Bork anyway, so pretty good at shredding those tanks. Also scales very, very well. Will outskill that Jarvan eventually.
I'm kind of looking at this Kindred here being picked up here as a safety pick, especially seeing that Galio J4 combo may be able to save a bunch of her teammates here, especially during the J4 cage.
Yeah, these team fights are going to be pretty chaotic with just the way the natural way they'll play out. Spartan's looking to wombo combo, but it can be countered all pretty easily by one good ultimate from Raylene here.
I'm having a pretty big question mark coming from the Guardians draft phase, actually. What is that Aatrox actually supposed to do?
I think he bullies Shen and hope he gets fed.
I mean, fair. I don't know, though. Shen's a really disgusting pick right now, as you said it yourself, especially if he goes for some type of armor item first, like a Sunfire into a Titanic. I don't think that Aatrox is going to be able to touch that, man.
Yeah, the early game Shen is super, super strong, but I do think at 2 items, Aatrox is one of the strongest top laners, so at 2 items, he should be able to take on the Shen, but it really just depends how far ahead he is able to get.
Oh, for sure. What do you think of that mid lane matchup against Lux versus Galio?
That's actually Lux does have a pretty gross range on her abilities, so that can be hard to navigate as a Galio. But Galio, he's got that MR shield, he's got insane wave clear for himself, so I think that this Galio can out wave clear this Lux, and then look to roam or skirmish with that strong 2v2 they drafted.
And finally, my last question will be for you is, what do you think both sides of the jungle are looking for this game?
I think if you're Jarvan, you camp that bot lane with the amount of CC and setup you have on that side, as well as global ultimates able to call for assistant at pretty much any moment. So I expect Jarvan to be playing through that bot lane and using those globals to kind of assist him in doing that, where this bot lane, I think, is trying to go for just 2v2s. Kindred could still gank, but the amount of lockdown, it is pretty risky. If I'm Kindred, I'm trying to play through that Aatrox, get him ahead of the Shen, to the point where Shen can't really play the game and is only an R bot.
It's also going to be, as well as a very interesting game where it's going to be a very front-to-back heavy comp coming into the Spartans, and I'm having quite a bit of an issue of where the backline and the front line is going to be placed, maybe as a pick, or maybe just a back engage with the Nautilus with the Aatrox with a flank, and to a Kai'Sa ultimate in the back. That Lux seems a little bit out of place if they do that.
I do agree. Just in general, I think the Lux seems a little out of place with the rest of the comp. Kindred and Kai'Sa, they need to get ahead. They need to get scaling. If they're set too far behind, I think the Spartans will actually walk all over the Guardians based on comp. As for the Spartans, I think the Galio and the Ashe and even the Jarvan really too all need to be ahead. They need to have their at least a small lead to be able to execute their combos, especially in the mid to late game when it comes to those skirmishes. If they're not tanky enough to pull off the flag and drag into Hero's Entrance combo, it's going to be a rough time as they'll just get blown up.
And also getting to the spectator vote, who do you think is going to win?
Based on draft, I'm gonna give it to the Spartans. I think the Spartans actually have an amazing draft. But based on from what I've seen from these teams, the Guardians don't really care what I have to think about the draft, and they usually just stomp on the other team anyway.
100% there. I am also going to be voting for the Spartans because I think their comp is just so easy to execute that they are able to push through the mid game and making sure that Kindred won't be able to do anything, especially that their only real front line is the Nautilus.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Aatrox, he is tanky, he is a bruiser, but if he is out in the open to all 5 members of the Spartans, he still will get burned down and bursted, not able to sustain through too much fire.
The only issue I'm seeing out of the Spartan draft is that the majority of their damage is coming through Ashe, and Ashe isn't naturally high damage unless ahead. So do you think that will bite them in the end if it's going to be 6 items versus that comp versus the other comp?
Yeah, actually, do you think that will bite them? Kaisa does scale pretty well with the evolution she gets. Kindred definitely far outscaling that Jarvan. Between Lux and Galio, I guess you give it to Lux with the low cooldown and high amount of AP she can get. So I actually do give Guardians the edge in scaling here, even though their team fighting, in order to execute that scaling, will still remain way more difficult.
100% agree with you. It's so much scaling coming from the Guardians here. Even though Aatrox will be alone after 6 items, I think if they can push through this heavy engaged comp and make sure they keep themselves peeling themselves back to secure their lives necessarily, I think Guardians have a really good chance at like 30 to 40 minutes in the game.
I think the problem the Guardians are going to run into is if the Spartans run a 1-3-1 comp with Shen and Gallia wave clearing in the side lanes, it's going to be pretty much impossible for the Guardians to match the side lane and also be careful of not being engaged on, because both Galio and Shen can just ultimate in to join the rest of their team at pretty much any moment from those side lanes. So if executed properly there, the Guardians are going to have problems with that.
And that's why we're voting Spartans. That's all I'm going to say.
And the people, they agree with us. They also agree 4-0 here that the Spartans are taking this game.
100%, 100%. I'm just trying to think, in what world could you see the Guardians winning at this point, besides the late game?
It's just if those lanes get off to massive starts from the get-go here, they will stomp their way to victory from there.
I can definitely see the Kindred going for some heavy invades, maybe with the support of the Aatrox early game, or even with the Nautilus support into their red side in the bot lane. I'm kind of looking forward to see if the Kindred may be coming in with an early invade, maybe into the red or blue side, depending on what.
Did we lose you?
Apparently, yes. I apologize there.
No worries.
When League of Legends starts up for me, it cuts my mic out for some reason. But what
Nice
buff do you think J4 is going to start here?
I'm actually not entirely sure of your pathing. I think you pathed down towards your bot side, as I think the level 3 or even the level 2 is a lot stronger from the Spartans here. So I think you try to capitalize on that. But what do you think?
I definitely think if they want to go for a level 2 gank bot with the red start, it's fine. But I think securing both of your buffs against the Kindred, especially that I would be excited to see the Kindred trying to invade early, maybe like level 1, level 2 to secure a buff into the enemy jungle while the Jarvan's trying to clear his jungle, would be very crazy.
Yeah, I hope we do see some aggressive plays coming out of the Kindred, really utilizing the pick to its fullest. As I will pause at 5 seconds.
Yes, sir. I paused at 5 seconds.
Alright, just give me 1 second.
Take your time.
Alrighty, 3, 2, and 1 go.
Starting out here, it's going to be a Doran's Blade coming out of the Aatrox, basically hyper pressuring the Shen, looking to get maybe some early kills, especially if Kindred's starting red side. She can do the exact same thing as J4, in my opinion, where they get to do a level 2 gank, especially with Q and E.
Oh yeah, that's actually a good point. I didn't consider the level 2 cheese, but it could be really effective because you set that Shen behind that early. It actually opens a lot of possibilities for this Aatrox to snowball the lane.
100%. And Kindred looking for a ward here, unpunished, while the J4 was staring him down menacingly. J4 looking to get another ward against the Kindred here, trying to be scary, warding the red buff to see where the Kindred starts here.
He's got him and the boys, though.
Agreed. Ah, man. I'm trying to think. Looks like both starting out with a 5-point, completely standard, no explosive early game start. If there was a 5-man invade, which team would you think would win?
I'd go with the Spartans, as Leona can kind of initially start the fight if she starts E, get someone to be in place, and then from there you have Galio start W, and just jump on them.
For sure, and it looks like it's going to be an interesting time in the mid lane as well, with the pokes already starting out from the Lux. Early red buff pickup by the J4.
Yeah, both junglers starting on the bot side, probably going to be clearing up to that top side. I'm assuming we'll have a skirmish herald early on the top side.
100%. Do you think the J4 is going to be taking the top lane at all?
I think Aatrox has got the better level 1 wave clear, so he should be pushing, so that may open up Kindred for the gank instead of J4.
I'm also thinking, very much so, I think J4 looking for an early gank here, especially that the Aatrox is looking like he's guaranteeing pushing into the Shen. I think Shen holding that position right there is actually very key, so there's no oversaturation with the minions.
I had my point across, but I said it backwards, as J4 actually should get a nice gank with the push lead from Aatrox.
100%. Also, coming from the bot lane, both are kind of engagey. Who do you think has the advantage really on the Ashe or the Kai'Sa lane?
I'm going to give it to the Ashe Leona. I'm actually not entirely sure if I'm right about that, especially because there's Halo Blades on the Kai'Sa.
Forcing the early pickup with the E, actually getting no dashes. Kindred actually looking for a gank top. At that position, I disagree, but the Leona's looking to come into the Kai'Sa here. Exhaust coming down pretty early. Kai'Sa trying to do damage back up, forcing the heal and the flash. Early first blood coming into the Ashe here, absolutely dominating with the Leona pickup. Just them absolutely brutalizing us, missing the E, unfortunately, onto Leona. Maybe even picked up a second one.
Well, I guess I was right in the end. My assumption was more based on the exhaust on Kai'Sa would prevent her from being able to get a kill on either of them, which seemed to be correct in the end.
Completely agree with you. Completely agree. And also, an unlucky Kindred Mark spawn coming into the bot scuttle. So Jarvan picking that up for free.
As Raylene looking to get it.
Coming into the mid lane here, getting a taunt coming out of it, absolutely massive amount of damage coming through with the Kindred E, even through the Aftershock. I expected it to do it today, do less damage overall, but ultimately picking up that first blood with the Kindred.
Yeah, nice gank from Raylene, first time Sona with the slow into the snare, able to really keep him in place, make sure he's not going anywhere. The taunt also does slow you down a little bit, so maybe not the best decision there.
Completely agreeing with you. I think he was completely out if he just pressed E and walked away, or even if he needed to, if his E wasn't up, flashing.
Yeah, but paying quite heavily for the taunt.
Definitely. I actually am very curious on to the bot lane items here. It looks like the Kai'Sa opting into the Manamute build, while the Ashe is opting into the Bork build. Do you think Bork is the right call here?
That's a good question. It'll be good against the Aatrox and the Nautilus for sure. I'm gonna say yes, but that's more on the grounds of that I think the Bork build is the better build for Ashe, not that it's necessarily even better against the Guardians comp.
I know coming from the gold perspective, I've definitely heard from sources like Sneaky and other pros stating that the Bork build is even though it gives the most sustain, is the least damage potential out of all builds, especially only technically having one tank coming out, because this Aatrox is most likely going to go bruiser like Stair's Gauge, Black Cleaver, etc., etc.
That's definitely a good point, and the math is there to back that up. I don't know. I'm going off what I see the pros do, I guess.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Looking for the third proc, but missing the auto attack, unfortunately. Looks like the Kindred is trying to focus that Galio down, making sure he doesn't get anything off of this game.
Yeah, Kindred doesn't have like the huge backbone.
Going all in into the Kindred here, level 4 versus level 5. They all in coming from the J4 here, doing a massive amount of damage. It looks like the Kindred's going to live unless a flash is coming out of J4, which it is with the swag flag, missing the damage point just a little bit with the level 6 pickup with the with the Lux there. The Shen trying to battle against the Aatrox here. It's going to be a 3v2 in a second here. Maybe they can pick up the Aatrox, but the ultimate is coming down from the Aatrox, trying to kite backwards to allow the Lux and the Lux. But the Galio is going to taunt the Aatrox, coming to seeing if they can get an extra kill. Shen taunting away while Galio is going in. Unfortunately, coming into Guardian's Avenge.
Oh yeah, it's like I said, the Guardians, I never think they're going to win based on comp, but based on execution, they are always playing it well. They took some good skirmishes there. First time Sona hitting that level 6 first, where Woven Alchemist not able to bail out his jungler with the Hero's Entrance shield, able to get a couple of good picks there.
Looks like Aatrox is trying to pick up an early kill onto the Shen there, getting his his auto attack block and dashing out of the W snare. Looks like there's going to be a 4-man bot, a dive bot.
Goob is definitely good on this Aatrox. We saw it, I believe it was last week as well, where he seems to bully these matchups that may not even be favorable for him.
100% for sure, and it looks like Guardian's going to be picking up the first dragon here, uncontested. Maybe J4 is going for a Miracle Soul, but decides against it.
He doesn't have Smite, so probably a good call in the end. As much as I would have liked to see it.
I would have loved to see the EQ steal with no Smite. I've definitely seen it, but the Leo is going to engage into the Kaisa Nautilus, making sure this Ashe not taking any advantage of it. The TP coming out of Aatrox with the Shen coming back in. While the Leona's coming from the re-engage, the Nautilus is coming in to get the secure kill onto Shen, but it doesn't even matter. The Galio ulti not coming in from the Leona there to try to consider her life any presence, but she gets out alive. And I cannot talk.
It's okay. When action is flying that hard, it's really hard to keep up. Seemingly weird choice by Galio, but pays off in the end. But he's choosing to stay here, and not a good decision, as there's 4 members still from the Guardians.
For sure, they are low though, so it seems like they are gonna back off from that dive, but it potentially could have worked out if executed properly. They're all gonna back here and reset and pick up some key items.
Yeah.
What do you think the What?
Oh, no, I was just gonna say if they juggled aggro properly, they could have pulled that off, but it was quite risky.
For sure, for sure. Unfortunate timings coming from the Spartans, not playing off of key ultimates, as well as Leona still level 5 here, as well while the enemy team picking up all their ultimates with a beautiful engage coming from the J4 here. Unfortunately, the flash coming in and Galio unable to come back and getting poked back.
And yeah, being immediately chunked out after that, and he's without his summoners at this point, so a pretty good punish from first time Sona, able to survive and also able to set the Galio behind, so having to reset once again.
Picking up the rest of the minions there for sure. I'm just looking to see what they could do at the moment, because Spartans are having a difficult time finding a really key engage to lock down some of the key targets coming out of Guardians. At this point, what do you think that J4 is looking for?
He needs to get this bot lane super ahead, in my opinion.
100% agree, but he's looking to try to get a easy kill off to the Aatrox, but Aatrox just backing out with his mini dash there and continuing to farm up.
Kindred is also rotating over here, so either Shen might be in trouble or both of them could be in trouble here, as Herald is up.
Agreed. It looks like it's going to be all in coming from the Shen there. Unfortunate wave placement and no flash coming from ulting bot side. Seems like it's going to be a kill coming towards the Kindred. Absolutely becoming a monster.
Yeah, Kindred is 3-0 already, and definitely outscaling this Jarvan into the late game, and already stronger, so it's starting to look grim for the Spartans at this point.
I'm actually very confused what the Ashe is building here, but an all-in coming from the Nautilus with the Kai'Sa ultimate coming in, Ashe Arrow coming out, flashes all over the place with Kai'Sa picking up the Ashe with the heal to get away from the tower, looking to see if they can get up a second kill, but Liam is just way too tanky.
Yeah, no summoners, probably just not respecting the amount of pick potential the Kai'Sa and Nautilus have, but I have to agree with you, I am also confused as to what Ashe is building.
Do you think they was originally going for that Bork build and then building Death's Dance second?
I don't know. The Caulfields makes me think the ER, the Essence Reaver build, but I'm not sure what the recurve is for.
Trying to get that extra attack speed, man. He's trying to get those extra slows, apparently. Definitely an interesting pick for sure.
As Kai'Sa already finishing that mirror mana, definitely going to be able to start scaling that up pretty soon. Not many stacks on it yet, but it's scaling faster with the full item.
Also, another factor could take place that the Ashe isn't really abusing her free map packs to see where the Kindred is at all times. Do you think he should start? It should be a factor to start looking for that, or is it just too late at this point?
It might be too late already. When you outscale and you're ahead, it's pretty much doomed in terms of that singular matchup. But as we can see, Raylene bullying the Shen.
Unfortunate, again, being at the wrong place, wrong time, not having his creep wave in the proper position to fight against that. The Kindred looking to push back that in, and maybe looking for that Dragonflame.
Yeah, Raylene, like I was saying in Champ Select, a great jungler at the right place at the right times, punishing lanes that are pushing, that don't have vision as well. Because they were looking for plates, but High Reef is here to stop that.
I'm actually very surprised for the J4 actually going in at this point, looking for a lot of damage. Ultimate coming out for both the Kindred and the J4 here, looking to see the all-in with the Galio and the Shen ultimate wombo combo, but it looks like the Aatrox is going to be picking up the J4 here. Absolutely huge, maybe even picking up the Aatrox at this point, but it is looking to be turned back as Galio gets picked up by the Aatrox here, as well as the Shen by the Kindred.
Okay, well that was pretty well played, like, by the Spartans. I can't really complain about it too much, other than maybe ultimates. I don't know if they were on cooldown, but it should have come out a little bit earlier to keep Jarvan healthy. But at this point in the game, you just got 2v3'd by the Kindred Aatrox, both of them super ahead and outscaling their lane counterparts. It's definitely looking dire for the Spartans.
Ah, man, 100% here, especially seeing that Aatrox is just going to be able to do whatever he wants during teamfights, being this far ahead after backing here. Definitely has enough gold to pick up his Black Cleaver, finishing it. What do you think the Kindred's going to be looking to buy?
She could go. I think actually Bork is probably the right play here into the 4 pretty much tank champions. You could argue some of them are bruisers or hybrid, but I think all of them definitely building a lot of HP, so Bork probably the right call here.
For sure, and I actually think the J4 and not going for the Dragon earlier, especially seeing Shen getting picked off so early, would have been fine, but it looks like they're going to pick up this Dragon uncontested.
Yeah, it's good that they're at least to get some sort of objective, not put themselves too behind, as the Ashe
Arrow coming out. Missing, unfortunately, maybe a little bit telegraphed, but it seems like it's fine. Looking to come in with the Leona and the J4 all missing. Lino still going in to see if he can pick up something. Flashing the Lux ultimate, but it looks like the Aatrox is just absolutely monstrous at this point, picking up the W to secure the death of the enemy AD carry. J4 trying to salvage the situation, but unfortunately is unable to do so. Aatrox still looking in for some key picks. Shen is trying to re-engage into the Aatrox, but at this point I think it's a little late. I don't even know why I keep saying that, but it's okay as the re-engage is coming in. J4 flashing away with a little bit of HP, and Aatrox trying to disengage.
Well, I don't think you need to beat yourself up about it because I really think it is too little too late. The Spartans at this point in time, they're so far ahead. They already outscaled the enemy team. At this point, it's too difficult from this goal deficit for the Spartans to execute the comp they have. They don't have the damage really to be able to kill these key members of the Guardians here. It's looking dire for them.
There's going to be engaged onto the bot side, a 1v2 situation. Maybe they'll look up to see if the Asher would have came in to give enough time for the Asher to start putting some DPS into the Kai'Sa, but unfortunately not.
Yeah, I've been 1v1 by a Leona before, and I have to say, it does not feel good.
Yeah, definitely not, especially if you're going something like a 80 carrier where Nautilus or even a Leona just puts you into the dirt. Looks like there's going to be an engage coming from the bot side. It's going to be Nautilus ult coming out, but the Aatrox is coming in with the TP, absolutely one-shotting that Ashe. I don't even know where he went. Re-engage with the Nautilus here, making sure that Leona goes nowhere, getting that kill pick up by the Aatrox.
And a great job by the Guardians here to lay that amount of burst down, preventing Shen from entering that fight. Actually, I think if they let Shen finish his teleport, they could have probably just killed both of them.
Oh, for sure here, but there's going to be a re-engage coming from the Galio, maybe looking to salvage this turret, but unfortunately it's just way too many people and way too much DPS when you're this far behind.
That was a nice taunt by him, but he has no other follow-up. Only one person's going to get the tower aggro, so that's actually a pretty easy kill for the Guardians. As we're already looking at a 7k gold lead, 17 minutes in the game.
It looks like Ashe is going to look like to do the same thing as she gets picked up by the Nautilus and absolutely eaten alive by the enemy team.
A nice stopwatch to drop the aggro, keep himself alive. And like I said, the Guardians, maybe not the best drafters, but just stomping every game.
100% here. I can see a little bit like my team myself, but it looks like J4 is going to pick up the easy kill into the mid lane, just solo killing the Lux there.
Well played by Jarvan. At least he's able to trade something. He knows the entire team is at least bot side and probably resetting, so he's able to take that opportunity to kill the Guardians mid laner.
It's actually quite impressive how they absolutely turned a interesting comp into a absolutely terrifying one, having every single member of their team basically ahead of their enemy counterpoint.
It was looking good for the Spartans initially with that bot lane gank, or bot lane fight, I should say. But ever since then, Raylene kind of taking control of the map and setting up her laners for success.
It's kind of looking like the TSM versus FlyQuest game that just happened not too long ago, where there was an early game 5 kill with the enemy or with the bot lane, but unfortunately unable to carry the rest of the game out with it. What do you think Spartans can do at this point? Are they too far behind, or do you think there can be a miracle comeback?
I unfortunately don't think there's a miracle comeback. They just don't have the scale. Like, the only reason I think the Lions were able to come back is they had those scaling options to get themselves at least something if the game stalled out. But the longer this game stalls out, the worse it looks for the Spartans here. The Guardians pretty much have the win, in my opinion.
100% agreeing with you here, especially just how much DPS is coming out of those carry champions. That Aatrox just walking in without any tank items, looking like a tank at this point, as well as the Kindred's maximized DPS, opting into the Storm Razor over the Black Cleaver, saying you guys are not tanky enough for me to opt in, and going full crit.
Yeah, when you're so ahead, I guess it's actually the wise choice. She is basically a second AD carry here, doing more traditional AD crit damage as a normal AD carry, where Kai'Sa has more of the AP damage covered for you as well.
I agree with you there. And it looks like this third dragon with a Mountain Soul is going to be picked up by the enemy comp. They're pulling the dragon out, making sure this J4 has no chance of stealing it, but it looks like he's going to be going for it anyways. Leona opting in with the Galio ultimate, 4-man Galio ultimate into his death there. I think it was brave for sure.
And this is what I was trying to get at earlier. Like, the Spartans, they can play their comp correctly, like we just saw, but they're just so far behind, it really doesn't matter what they do.
Completely agree, especially this Ashe can't put any or as much DPS as she wants to at this point, especially that the rest of the team can just run her down. And the weakness of this comp really showing where the Ashe is the only damage source.
Yeah, it can be fine if the other members are ahead and are pretty much unkillable, but everyone on the Guardians doing too much damage.
Oh, for sure, and it just looks gonna be a catastrophe, unfortunately. It looked promising early on, for sure, but there's still gonna be a re-engage coming into the Spartans here, almost picking up the Kindred, but shouldn't have to flash as well. Looks like he is going to survive with a re-engage of the Leona, trying to save the Ashe, but it's a little late on that one, while the inhibitor's gonna pick up, and maybe even potentially ending. But it looks like they're opting for Baron.
Yeah, well, that didn't even look like that bad of a fight for the Spartans, but just all members able to survive. A great ultimate from Raylene there, keeping himself and his team alive here. Able to get the siege that mid turret and him down. And this should also be Baron for them, as they can reset after this and just close out the game.
At this point, I can't think of any other place Spartans can pick up to pick themselves back up into this comp unless a miracle pentakill on Ashe twice in a row to get that damage items on board. But at this point, the Baron being picked up there, I think, is also the end of the game.
Yeah, they got themselves lots of gold. Aatrox now has his Death Dance. Didn't even have that beforehand. Still healing ridiculous amounts. Kindred getting her Rapid Fire Cannon. The rest of the Guardians also getting themselves some key items here. Really not much the Spartans can do.
Do you think there could have been a different build coming out of any of these champions? Or on the Spartans?
On the Spartans, I think Ashe maybe could have committed to whatever build she wanted to go for a little bit earlier. Shen maybe going for the Tiamat a little bit earlier to help himself wave clear. If maybe he has Tiamat, he gets those waves under tower and keeps himself alive from the Kindred ganks. Other than that, though, I don't see really too much out of place or that I would do differently. How about you?
I'm basically on board with you at this point. The only difference I think is the Galio not going through with the Hextech proto belt here, maybe more opting into something a little bit more tanky at this point, because even though they were looking for a secondary damage source for sure, coming out of that lane he was looking a little bit worse for wear, starting I think at 02 or even 03.
Yeah, that's a good point. Tank Galio offers, I'd argue it offers more damage with how much more survivability it has.
100%, but a beautiful 3-man ultimate into Galio ultimate getting cancelled though. It's going to be a massive amount of Naga damage, showing the true potential of the comp that they ran, but unfortunately they're just not tanky enough due to the fact of how much they lost during that early game.
Yeah, Ashe actually got to fire away for free there, but like we were discussing earlier, Ashe does not do enough damage on her own. Maybe if that was like an Aphelios or something of that nature, that would be able to mow down the Guardians comp, but the Guardians using their lead, just a dominant stomp here as they look to close out the game.
And I completely agree with you. I'm just thinking at this point, who will be the MVP for this match? Who are you going to give it to?
It's got to be Goober Raylene, in my opinion.
I agree with you. I think Raylene really set the tone of putting that top lane pressure, making sure that Shen does nothing, as well as putting the mid lane so far behind so early.
Yeah, I think Raylene, definitely a massive factor in why those lanes even got that far ahead and able to win those later skirmishes, even though the Spartans comp was executing as envisioned. They were just so far behind, it didn't really matter. So I'd probably give it to Raylene. It will go live pretty shortly, though, but taking a look at the damage here, Aatrox pumping out way more than I expected.
I 100% agree. Being able to just freely pound out damage during that early game really set the tone of how that game was going, especially with how much Raylene was ganking and that Aatrox becoming a monster once he got out of that laning phase.
Yeah, he was a monster indeed. Taking a look at the damage taken, it's unfortunate how much damage they were actually taking on the side of the Spartans. They were just pouring, Guardians dumping so much damage onto them, not able to get tanky enough to survive that onslaught, not able to execute. I think it was good on paper, but the execution was just a little bit lacking.
Can't say it better myself, and I do appreciate you guys tuning in as well.
Alrighty, guys, we are going to take another quick break. In that meantime, I will throw up your player of the game poll, so be sure to vote on that, and when we come back, it will be ready to be announced. Anyways, we'll see you soon.
I need an angel to save me from myself, holding my savior, keep my heart upon the shelf. Do you remember the things we said, the things we felt? Calling forever.
Welcome back to the analyst desk, people. You guys have voted, and this time, I should say once again, it is Raylene as your player of the game. Seems to be pretty much every time the Guardians are on stream, I'm talking about how well Raylene played. Anyways, guys, Raylene on the Kindred. That's not necessarily an advantage as far as matchup wise early game, but just playing the map super well. Initially getting that mid lane ahead, getting himself ahead through that as well, setting that Galio behind, preventing him from getting tanky, shutting down that win condition there. If Galio is unkillable with the Jarvan, maybe those later game teamfights play out a little bit differently, translating that into some heralds and some dragons for himself, as well as numerous top ganks, setting up Goob for a huge snowball. Not that Goob didn't misplay, or that didn't play amazingly as well, but well played to Raylene, controlling the map, snowballing himself and his team there. A dominant performance from the Guardians once again. It doesn't matter what I say or think about the Guardians draft, because they are here to stomp. So GG's to the Guardians, GG's to the Lions, and every team playing tonight. Thank you all for stopping by, and big thank you to Same Page, my boy, doing a great job on the cast. So that's it from us guys here at Legends. So be sure to check out our website, check over the merch tab. We have our jerseys, we got phone cases, we got all kinds of stuff for you guys to enjoy. So be sure to check that out. I'm not sure why the transition decided to run again. Anyways, guys, that's it from me, Psychonautic. I hope you all have a great rest of your night.